Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Nighttime Mics. I'm Mike, and as always, I'm sitting here with the wonderful Sarah. How's your week been so far, Sarah?
Oh, you know how it is, Mike. It's been a bit of a whirlwind. I feel like I've been running around in circles since Monday morning. But I'm so happy to be here in the studio with you. It's actually the first time today I've had a chance to just sit down and breathe.
I totally get that. I think we all have those weeks where the to-do list just keeps growing and growing. It's like as soon as you cross one thing off, 3 more things pop up to take its place. It's actually perfect that we're talking about free time today because honestly, I think I've forgotten what it looks like.
I know, right? It's funny because we call it free time, but sometimes it feels like the most expensive thing in the world because it's so hard to find. I was actually reading an article the other day that said most adults only feel like they have about an hour of true free time a day. Can you believe that?
Only 1 hour? No way. That's actually a bit depressing. If I only had 1 hour, I'd probably spend the whole time just trying to figure out what to do with it, and then the hour would be over. I'm the kind of person who needs at least 30 minutes just to wind down after work before I can even think about having fun.
Exactly. That's a huge part of the problem. We have this transition period where our brains are still thinking about emails or chores. I've started calling it the buffer zone. It's that time when you've finished work, but you haven't quite turned off yet.
The buffer zone. I like that. I definitely spend a lot of time there. Usually my buffer zone involves me sitting on the sofa with my shoes still on, staring at the TV without even turning it on. My flatmate came home the other day and asked if I was okay because I was just sitting in the dark.
That's hilarious, but I've been there too. Sometimes you just need to stare into space to clear your head. But tell me, Mike, when you finally do get past the buffer zone and you actually have an afternoon to yourself, what do you usually do? Are you a relax on the couch person or an active person?
To be honest, it depends on the day. If it's been a really long week, I'm definitely a couch potato. I'll just put on a movie and try not to move for 3 hours. But generally, I like to be active. I feel like if I don't do something physical, I haven't really used my time well. I love going to the gym or playing football with the guys. It helps me blow off some steam. What about you? You're more of the creative type, right?
I try to be. I've always got some kind of project going on. Last month it was knitting. The month before that it was photography. But I have a bad habit of starting things and then giving up when they get too difficult. I have a cupboard full of half-finished hobbies.
Oh, I think everyone has a cupboard of shame like that. What was the most recent one you gave up on?
Oh, definitely the pottery. I thought it would be so relaxing and therapeutic, like in the movies. But it turns out it's actually really hard. My beautiful vases kept looking like lumpy potatoes, and the clay gets everywhere. It was so messy that I spent more time cleaning the kitchen than actually making anything. I eventually decided to give up and just buy my mugs from the shop like a normal person.
That's fair enough. I tried woodworking once. I had this grand idea that I was going to come up with all my own furniture. I bought the saws, the wood, the sandpaper, the whole lot. I spent 3 weekends in the garage, and all I managed to produce was a birdhouse that was so crooked the birds wouldn't even go near it.
No way. Poor birds. Did you ever finish it?
I did finish it, but it's currently holding up a shelf in the garage because it's too ugly to put in the garden. I realize that some hobbies require a level of patience that I just don't have. I want to see results immediately, and woodworking is definitely not for people like me.
I think that's why so many of us end up just scrolling on our phones. It's instant entertainment. You don't have to learn a skill or clean up a mess. You just swipe and your brain gets a little hit of dopamine. But then you look at the clock and 2 hours have passed. It's a bit of a trap, isn't it?
It really is. I've actually started leaving my phone in the other room when I get home from work. If I have it in my pocket, I'll just pull it out every 5 minutes without even thinking about it. It's like a reflex. By putting it away, I'm forced to figure out something else to do.
That's a really good idea. I should try that. I find that I run into trouble when I'm bored. If I don't have a plan for my free time, I default to my phone. I've been trying to set aside specific times for no-screen activities, like from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., no phones allowed.
And how's that working out for you?
It was hard at first. I kept reaching for my phone to check the weather or look something up, but after a few days, I found myself picking up a book instead. I actually finished a whole novel last week. I haven't done that in months. It felt so good to actually focus on one thing for a long time.
That's impressive. I can't remember the last time I read a whole book. I usually get through the first 3 chapters and then get distracted by a shiny object. But you're right, there's a different kind of satisfaction you get from finishing a book or a project compared to just watching random videos.
It's about being active versus passive, I think. When we watch TV or scroll, we are just consuming. When we read or do a hobby, we are engaging our brains. But Mike, don't you think there's a lot of pressure these days to always be doing something useful?
Oh, absolutely. It's that hustle culture we see online. Everyone is talking about their side hustle or how they spent their weekend learning a new language or building an app. It makes you feel like if you're just sitting in the park looking at the trees, you're wasting your life.
I hate that. I think wasting time is actually really important for your mental health. We need time where we aren't being productive. If we are always on, we're going to burn out. I actually love just sitting in a cafe, people watching. I don't bring a book, I don't check my phone, I just watch the world go by.
People watching is the best. You can come up with so many funny stories about the people you see. Look at that guy with the giant hat. I bet he's a secret agent.
Exactly. It sparks your imagination. But I've noticed that if I tell people I spent my Saturday doing nothing, they look at me like I'm crazy. They say things like, "Oh, weren't you bored?" And I'm like, "No, it was the best day of my week."
I guess it's because we are taught from a young age that time is money. But time isn't money. Time is your life. I'd rather spend my life being happy and relaxed than being busy and stressed just to say I was productive.
That's so true. But let's talk about social free time. Do you prefer to spend your off hours alone or with other people? Because I know you're a big people person.
I am, but I've changed a lot recently. In my early 20s, I hated being alone. If I had a Friday night with no plans, I'd be calling everyone in my contacts list trying to find someone to hang out with. I felt like I was missing out on something if I wasn't out at a bar or a party.
And now?
Now, honestly, a Friday night on my own sounds like heaven. I love my friends, but social interaction takes a lot of energy. Sometimes, after talking to people all day at work, the last thing I want to do is talk more. I've learned to value my own company. It's nice to be able to choose the music, choose the food, and not have to compromise with anyone else.
I'm with you on that. I think as you get older, you realize that your energy is a limited resource. You have to decide where to spend it. I've become much more selective about who I spend my free time with. I'd rather have a deep conversation with one or two close friends than go to a loud party where I can barely hear myself think.
I know, right? Those loud parties are the worst. You spend the whole night shouting, "What?" at people and nodding like you understand what they're saying when you actually have no idea.
I've definitely done the smile and nod many times. But speaking of friends, do you find it hard to coordinate free time with them? It feels like as we get older, everyone's schedule gets so complicated.
Oh, it's a nightmare. Trying to organize a simple dinner with 4 friends is like trying to plan a space mission. I'm busy Tuesday, she's busy Wednesday, he has a yoga class on Thursday. By the time we find a date that works for everyone, it's 3 months in the future.
It's so frustrating. And then when the day finally comes, someone usually cancels because they're too tired or they had to work late. I think that's why a lot of people lose touch as they get older. It just takes so much effort to keep the friendship going.
That's why I've started trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'll ask a friend to go to the gym with me, or we'll go for a walk while we catch up. That way, we're getting some exercise and socializing at the same time. It feels less like a scheduled event and more like just living life together.
That's a great way to do it. I've started doing errand dates with my best friend. We'll go to the grocery store together or do our laundry at the same time. It sounds boring, but it makes the chores much more fun, and we actually get to talk.
That's actually really clever. It turns a boring task into free time. You're figuring out ways to make life easier. I love that. But Sarah, do you ever feel like you have too much free time? Like maybe during a holiday or a long break?
To be honest, rarely. But I did have a week off between jobs last year, and by day 4, I was starting to go a little crazy. I realized that while I love relaxing, I also need a bit of structure. Without a routine, I started staying up until 3 a.m. and waking up at noon, and I just felt slug-like. Is that a word?
It is now. Slug-like. I know exactly what you mean. It's like your brain turns into mush because it doesn't have any challenges. That's the danger of too much free time. You lose your momentum.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance. You need enough work to make your free time feel earned, but not so much work that you're too tired to enjoy it. It's like a puzzle we're all trying to solve every single week.
For sure. And everyone's puzzle looks different. For some people, free time is mountain climbing. For others, it's playing video games for 10 hours straight. There's no right way to do it.
Definitely. Although I do think some activities leave you feeling better than others. Like if I spend my whole Sunday playing video games, I might have fun in the moment, but on Monday morning I feel a bit empty. But if I spend that same time hiking or cooking a big meal for my family, I feel energized.
That's a really good point. It's about the after effect. I call it the investment of free time. If you invest your time in something meaningful, you get a return on that investment in the form of good memories or a new skill.
I like that. Investing your free time. That makes it sound much more important. But Mike, let's talk about money. Do you think you need money to have good free time? Because a lot of hobbies like skiing or traveling cost an arm and a leg.
That's a tough one. I think money definitely makes it easier to have exciting free time, but I don't think it's necessary for good free time. Some of my favorite memories are just from walking around the city with a cheap coffee, talking to a friend.
I agree. I think sometimes having less money forces you to be more creative. When I was a student and I was completely broke, my friends and I would come up with the funniest ways to spend our time. We'd have bad movie nights where we'd find the cheapest, weirdest DVD at the thrift store and make fun of it.
Oh, those are the best. We used to do that too. Or we'd have potluck dinners where everyone had to bring one dish made from whatever was left in their cupboard. You'd end up with a weird mix of tuna salad, pancakes, and baked beans. It was terrible food, but we laughed the whole night.
Exactly. You don't need a fancy restaurant to have a great time. In fact, sometimes the fancy places are a bit boring because you have to behave yourself. In a kitchen with your friends, you can just be yourself.
That's the key, isn't it? Being yourself. Free time is the only time in the day when we aren't Mike the employee or Sarah the daughter or whatever role we play. We can just be Mike and Sarah.
That's deep, Mike, but it's so true. It's our chance to reconnect with who we actually are. I think that's why people get so grumpy when their free time is taken away. It's not just about the work, it's about losing that connection to yourself.
I totally agree. When I'm forced to work overtime, I'm not just annoyed about the extra hours. I'm annoyed that I'm losing my me time. It feels like someone is stealing a part of my life.
So, how do we protect it? How do we make sure we don't let work or chores take over everything?
I think we have to be a bit strict with ourselves. I've started putting me time in my digital calendar. It sounds a bit silly to have an appointment with yourself, but if it's on the calendar, I'm much less likely to schedule something else over it. If a friend asks if I'm free, I look at my phone and say, actually, I have a commitment then. They don't need to know the commitment is me watching Netflix in my pajamas.
A very important meeting with a box of pizza. I love that. I've started doing something similar. I've started saying no more often. It was really hard at first because I'm a bit of a people pleaser. I didn't want to let anyone down. But then I realized that if I say yes to everyone else, I'm saying no to myself.
That's a great way to put it. You have to be your own priority sometimes. It's not selfish, it's necessary. It's like on an airplane when they say you have to put your own oxygen mask on before helping others. If you're exhausted and miserable, you're not going to be much help to anyone else anyway.
Exactly. That's such a perfect metaphor. I'm going to remember that next time I feel guilty for staying home. I'm just putting on my oxygen mask, Mom.
I'm sure she'll understand. But another thing I've noticed is how much our environment affects our free time. If my house is a mess, I can't relax. I feel like I should be cleaning.
Oh, I'm the same way. It's hard to switch off when you can see a pile of dirty dishes or a basket of laundry. I've started doing a 15-minute blitz as soon as I get home. I set a timer and clean as much as I can in 15 minutes. Once the timer goes off, I stop. That way, the house is good enough for me to feel like I can relax.
That's a smart move. I usually do the opposite. I say, I'll just relax for 10 minutes and then I'll clean. And then, of course, the cleaning never happens. I end up relaxing in a messy room, feeling guilty about the mess the whole time. It's the worst of both worlds.
The guilt relaxation cycle. We've all been there. You're trying to enjoy a movie, but in the back of your mind, you're thinking about the vacuuming. It really ruins the experience.
It really does. I think it's about presence. Whatever you're doing, whether it's work or play, you should try to be 100% there. When I'm at work, I try to focus purely on work so I can get it done. And when I'm off, I try to forget that work even exists.
That's the dream, isn't it? But with smartphones, work is always in our pockets. You get a notification at 8 p.m. and suddenly you're back in work mode. I've actually turned off all my work notifications on my phone. If something is truly an emergency, they can call me. Otherwise, it can wait until 9 a.m. the next day.
I did the same thing. It was a game changer. At first, I was worried I'd miss something important, but you know what? Nothing is ever that urgent. The world didn't end because I didn't reply to an email at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday.
It's true. We think we're indispensable, but most things can wait. It's important to set those boundaries. But Mike, let's talk about the future of free time. Do you think we'll have more or less of it in the future? With all this new technology and AI, they say we should be working less.
They've been saying that since the 1950s. They said by the year 2000, we'd only be working 10 hours a week and spending the rest of our time on flying bicycles. But it seems like the more technology we have, the more we work.
It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? Technology is supposed to save us time, but it just allows us to do more work in the same amount of time. I hope that eventually we figure out a way to actually reclaim our time. I'd love a 4-day work week.
Oh man, a 4-day work week would be amazing. Imagine having a 3-day weekend every single week. You could actually travel somewhere or start a big project without feeling rushed. I think I'd be much more productive during those 4 days because I'd have so much to look forward to.
There are some companies trying it now, and they say the results are great. People are happier, healthier, and they actually get more work done because they aren't so tired. I hope it becomes the new normal soon.
V2. Until then, we just have to make the most of what we've got. Speaking of which, our time for this episode is almost up. I can't believe how fast that went.
It really did. See, when you're having a good conversation, time just flies by. That's the best kind of free time there is.
It really is. I always feel so much better after we chat. It's like a little therapy session, but with more jokes and fewer tissues.
Well, I'm glad I could help. Before we go, do you have any final tips for our listeners on how to enjoy their free time more?
My biggest tip would be don't compare your free time to other people's. If you see someone on Instagram climbing a mountain and you just want to stay home and bake cookies, do it. Your free time belongs to you, not to your followers.
That's a great one. My tip would be to embrace the boredom. Don't be afraid of having nothing to do. Sometimes the best ideas and the most relaxation come from those moments when you're just being rather than doing.
Love it. Well, that's it from us today at Nighttime Mics. Thank you so much for joining us, Sarah. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me, Mike. It's been great.
And thank you to all of you for tuning in. We hope you found this conversation helpful or at least entertaining. Now go out there and enjoy your free time, whatever that looks like for you.
Bye, everyone. See you next time.
Catch you later, and don't forget to put your phone away.